All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back. Evan Aldo here. If you enjoy the content, smash the like button because this is pretty wild. Smash the like button for this nice little jackpot right here. $4,000 realized profit on this Bitcoin short that I've been in for a few days now. Kind of added to this guy a couple times. It was originally kind of swing short that was given out in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord, then added to it also in an ETH short. As you could see here, been adding to that many times as we've been coming down. So it's nice when price is really moving in one direction. Had a Litecoin swing short in that took a while to play out as well. So a lot of kind of trades in here. And we do bring a really good community. Crypto Bull Zone had a lot of good stuff too, especially shorting. I think it was Uniswap. Somebody was talking about that. Let's see what chat it was. Oh man. People were talking about it, but Crypto Bull Zone was doing really good here. So a really lively community. Just wanted to show you guys that. If you want to check it out, link down below for the Aldo Empire. If you want to trade, FAIRDESK is pretty good. PHEMEX is pretty good as well. For FAIRDESK, we're giving it away. If you sign up with my link and do one futures trade, deposit any amount of money and do one futures trade, we're giving away a $100 bonus to one person every week, only with my link, so check that out. FAMEX also really good. MEXC, no limit order fees with my link as well, so check those out. Let's get into the analysis right here. So obviously we had a pretty big drop down. We jumped up a little bit, which more often than not, when I've seen this thing where you crash down a bit and then you get a nice jump up, more often than not, I see usually you do retest those lows at least. Usually you do retest those lows. Sometimes you go even lower, break down, farther. I've been in this game a while now. I know how Bitcoin, what it typically does. I don't make any claim to know what's going to happen here. Anything could happen, but I know what Bitcoin typically does. And first thing I want to show you in the macro here is the monthly red Heiken Ashi candle right there. If we look at here, see right this, trajectory, 40% down with these three, actually four red Heiken Ashi candles. And if you don't count the pandemic, you were kind of home free from there, which could absolutely be what happens here. If we go 40%, I mean, that's pretty low. That's like 18K. It could be less, it could just be low 20s potentially. And that would be 3 or 4 kind of bars down into October, November. And if it's like this would be kind of nice. And it looks like maybe we crash down to 22K this month. Maybe we keep going down. I mean, the big moves happen quickly a lot of times. If it's like this, your bottom is going to be in this month in August. Exactly 8 years later, 8 years after 2015, right there. That was a 37% kind of drop down from that top. So if it's like that, once we get down that low, that's the time to kind of start to DCA into altcoins, or if you're a complete degenerate, put everything into them. Not financial advice, I don't know. But DCA is kind of the best point. Alt roads lead to September is what I've been saying for months now. Really what I've been saying since points last year, I think. So it's a long and coming patient time for us. I don't want to waste too much time, but if we look at this here, I mean, 3 weeks about to give a red dot on even Heiken Ashi. Oh no, it is giving a red dot on the weekly 3 week right here. So the good point is kind of after this one, kind of confirmed you were almost there. Just like there, a few more months similar to that one in 2019, and then it was different in 2015. So I'm not even gonna bother with that, but yeah, it's ultimately what I'm looking at there. And then if we move on to potentially what we could see if this goes deep into the red here, this trajectory deep into the red into September, you could be at 22, 23K, that kind of area. 300 weekly moving average would be about 22K. This is your 200 weekly moving average, which is at 27.4K. If we lose this, that's pretty bearish. If we lose this, I think it would be likely that you would eventually test sometime before the end of the year, that 22K, that 300 weekly moving average. And I can show you where that is really quickly right here. And we get that up right there. So yeah, around 21 something by the time we hit it. And I think that's going to be a big point as a potential bottom. Moving on to, some of the lower time frames here, what could happen? What could generally happen in the short term? I mean, you got your VWAP coming up in the 8 hour, but your money flow is still coming down. Same thing with the 12 hour, all these middle time frames, money flow is still coming down. So I'm not seeing a major, any major indication of us just recovering quickly. Money flow starting to come up on the hourly, but that's all we have. That's all we really have here. There's not too much. And then when you get onto when you get onto kind of the some of these lower ones, like the 22-minute money flows curving back down, it seems like you're breaking out of this. What is this, a bull pennant kind of thing here? And you're taking on target, you're back at these spiral lines. And usually you at least retest kind of the bottoms here. You at least retest or go a little bit lower before you finally jump up. I could see us going to the high 24s, then getting a jump potentially off of there. The market likes to play with you. The market knows probably there's a lot of stop losses below there. Let's fight those out. Let's get those. But for us shorting and adding to our shorts risk-free like I'm doing, this nice little thing over here, add to these guys risk-free, you could capitalize on this. This could, if we keep going down to 22K, generally this could, this could multiply even more. This could be more. And this is with house money generally. So that's our good point right there. And then ultimately ETH on the macro, looking like we'll eventually fulfill this kind of prophecy here, coming back down to probably that 1200 area, if not lower potentially. That's what we've talked about. So yeah, it just looks at no signs of generally turning around just yet. Let's look at ETH on more of the short term. We got a marked up chart here. I mean, this big area too that we kind of bounce off of this spiral line. I mean, if we're losing these points, you could eventually come down to that 1200 range that I've talked about. That could take months, obviously, but we'll see what happens. Ultimately, for more of the short term, money flows all deep on these time frames. I'm not seeing enough of a reason for a significant reason for a reversal just yet. Yeah, you got the green dot in the 2 hour, but I mean, money flows still deep. I'm not seeing any major signs. And just like Bitcoin, you came back up quick, but now you may be rolling back over. So be careful with that. Now, I'm not saying you can't jump up, retest, maybe this fib level, this area, 1735. I'm sure you can. I'm definitely sure you can. My average entry and stop loss is at 1751 right now. So that's what I'm kind of hoping we don't go that high, but we'll see. You definitely can, but I'm thinking more of a potential rollover, especially with how Bitcoin looks right now. And we'll definitely have to see what happens here. It could be kind of sideways for into tomorrow, into the weekend. We got Friday. Weekends tend to be more sideways, more choppy. So we'll absolutely have to see what happens there. So yeah, moving on to, we could look at Bitcoin dominance for a second. It still generally looks like it wants to come up on that weekly money flow. You do have some blood diamonds here, but a lot of times what happens is when things first crash down, Bitcoin dominance isn't really affected, but then as they come down lower, what are people going to sell? They're going to sell off their alts a lot more. And if we look at, let's just look at we could look at Bitcoin ETH right now, which got a little bit of a jump on this jump up, but once this jump up fades, which I think it will, it may not, but once this jump up kind of fades, this is going to come down more. And I think this money flow crossover here on this 2-day is going to play out a bit more. If you do something like that, see, that could be into September, back down to these levels, 0.05. That could be potentially the place to start DCAing into Ethereum. We could go lower if we break down, from that. Let me just give you a technical target. If we break down off of here, generally be somewhere around 0.034. Kind of thinking that's more worst case scenario, but never say never. If we look at some altcoins, Algo made a new low. This is, but don't be too afraid of it because, things have gone down 98% before and come all the way back to make new all-time highs. It's absolutely possible. I'm not saying Algo will, but it's absolutely possible because that's what Cardano did last time. It went down like 98.8% or something, or at least 98.2%. Came all the way back up to make new all-time highs. I'm keeping my eye in the next weekly bullish div for potential kind of bottom area. Same with the AVAX. You're slightly above your low, your low from June. This one you're on thin ice. You're hitting this major point. Sure. If we get this weekly bull div, these RSIs start to come up, I'd be a little bit more optimistic on this. But as of right now, it would not. With Bitcoin potentially going lower, this would not surprise me if it breaks these levels. And there's not much to latch onto. There's a little bit of 8, and then there's more at 6 something. These areas. Obviously, here would be really catastrophic. I kind of don't think you're going to go that low, but if you were to go down here, that's 95%. That's still typical of what altcoins do in bear markets and still can come back. So yeah, 95, 96 is absolutely possible here. Another one we should take a look at, I'm curious about DOT. That's kind of in the same ballpark, hitting that major point right there, but that money flow on the 2-week just isn't just isn't what I want to see right there, potentially coming in deeper. But once that money flow comes up, that's what I'm looking at for a potential bottom here. And the other thing too that I've been keeping my eye on is total two. This is the whole crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin. You do have a blood diamond on the 2 weeks, so it looks like you could come down. It looks like you could come down a bit more with this. I mean, if you break kind of this structure here, you probably would come down to potentially 300 billion or something, high 300 billions. I think that could be the good place to get into ETH and altcoins there. But let's see what happens, see how this kind of breaks down, this trigger wave, I guess, kind of breaks down here. Once you start getting deep with the money flow, I think you're kind of golden. It could be November. And the thing too is, like, if we look at 2019 here, it's like a 2018 at bottom to December, exactly a year later, if you don't count the pandemic, this is where it generally bottomed, exactly a year later, November, December, 2019, double bottom right there. So if it's like that, we could get that second kind of bottom in November of this year, potentially year later. See, bottom was here in November, then potentially November of this year is that bottom. Maybe low 20s is what I'm really looking at. So that's what we got to really keep in mind. The last thing I wanted to show you guys, which is interesting too, I feel like is XRP right here, and ascending wedge. You already came back down to 44 cents. So this whole thing with getting relisted so far has not done much. Like, all that anticipation, all that hype, it brought you up to $1. Okay, woohoo! Now all the way back down. So that's the thing here with these altcoins. Like, this is risky business for altcoins. NFTs are dropping too. So, I think we're close. I think we're almost there. But I think, alt roads, everything's kind of leading to September, October, November, that 3-month period. So kind of really quarter four, once you kind of get into quarter four is going to be the sweet spot. September into quarter four is August, obviously, or October, excuse me, obviously. But, starting in September, I think there's going to be more opportunity in this market to get in at some great prices. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Check out the Aldo Empire Discord down below. Really good content there. Check out FAIRDESK down below for the promo. Also check out PHEMEX for the promo as well. You guys can get an NFT too. They're minting with FAIRDESK with my link, and MEXC is good as well. Check those out. If you guys want to learn more about TA, I do have a trading course with a lot of my strategies, how I make a lot of these great trades. Check it out. There is a link down below with the discount code down below as well. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.